I have no idea how this is going to go, but I want to tell you that I am reading Gary Vaynerchuk's book, or I read Gary Vaynerchuk's book, and I got 12 books. Uh, I'm going to give these books out to people, but I don't know who I'm going to give them to. And anyway, I'm a self-help junkie, and so first of all, about 5-6 years ago, I was about 61 years old, and I was really having some issues, trouble. I didn't feel like I had joint pain. I felt like I was ready to give up from life. So what I did is I started on a search. I was discouraged about making money, and my job cut back its hours. I work at a factory. So anyway, I started on a self-help journey. Every day I started to exercise, and that helped a little bit. But then the next morning it was like Groundhog's Day. I was hurt and all beat up and didn't feel very good. So basically that whole journey took me on a journey to self-help when I got into Tai Lopez's 67 Steps. And from there I met or was introduced to Gary Vaynerchuk. And the first time I saw him, I just fell in love with the guy. I liked him right off the bat. He reminded me of my father, very frank. I liked the way he swore. It was refreshing. It was just, you knew what you got with the guy. And he was also at the same time, though, optimistic. And at the same time in business, he wasn't a shyster. He didn't come after you. And so I read a lot of his books. The only book I haven't, because I read them on Audible, because I'm dyslexic, and I didn't learn to read and write until I was in my late 30s. I actually got a mentor for 2 years, and I learned actually to read and write. But that being said, I read and write really, really slowly, and I still spell really crappy. I'm a lot better than I was. But I will read a book, I'll read a word, and sometimes I'll be tired, and the word, a long word, I can remember once it was like Antichrist. I was raised as a Baptist. I was reading Antichrist, and for some reason when I was reading it, it looked like 3 separate words. And if you syllabicate Antichrist, where it's not anti and then Christ, you look at it as if the words are chunked together, like CH doesn't usually, it makes a ch sound, not a Christ sound. Anyway, I stared at the word for a while, had to walk away, come back, and then I realized what it was. And this is another thing being dyslexic. I'm not a severe dyslexic. I think I'm a dyslexic through school, the school system. But anyway, I would look at a word. I can remember I was an actor for a time. My life sounds a lot better than it was. But anyway, I was an actor for a time, an independent actor that was not in any of the guilds, and I was doing a live show, and we had a bunch of people come to visit us at our show before I came up, and there was a bus there. And the bus had words written on the side of it, and I was tired. I remember having like just a couple hours sleep. So I looked at the word, and I thought, pap test. Why would they have a pap test church? Pap test? And I turned around and I thought, that can't be right. And so I really looked at it, and it was Baptist church. Because I was dyslexic and because I didn't know the words, my mind goes faster. And so I just assume that's the word, as opposed to really looking at it. And I also remember at that same time, when we did that show, this is what kind of actor I was. We were actually performing a show at a elementary school. That was where our theater was. So this is not high-end stuff. However, I did make a living. I was able to live within my means, and I did it for like 10 years. But I remember I was at this one room, and I looked up, and it says, English and science. Well, this one room said lounge acts. And I thought, lounge acts? Why would I have lounge acts for like 7th graders and 8th graders? And I looked at it again, it was like language arts. So these are the things that I go, and that's what I struggle with even now, and I'm in 66 and a half. And I could retire, but I made all kinds of financial mistakes, and I kind of, I'll back up just a minute. Anyway, I was working in a factory, and every time they have overtime, I take it. Well, then they stopped the overtime, and so I couldn't make some of my bills because I have to back up. I'll tell you the story later. But anyway, it was a financial burden on me. So then I started to look at see what could I do as a side hustle because I had things to do. Well, I started looking into real estate, started looking at Tai Lopez, started looking at all these things, and so I made a decision to go into real estate because I bought this house and kind of went under on this house, but I managed to get back. So anyway, to make this introductory story make some sense, I started to do self-help. I got into Minnesota real estate investors group, and I started spending money and thinking that I could become a real estate investor. So I bought all these courses and put all this time in, and I couldn't do that and read slow and do my job and still rehab this house and still rebuild 2 trucks that I'm doing. And so I just kind of gave up, but I was dabbling in it. But at the same time, I was also exercising, and then and my health, like I said, was getting, my arms were stiff, my body was stiff, felt like I was getting, coming down with brain fog, all these things. So what I did is through Tai Lopez and through Minnesota real estate investing, I started doing all these things, trying to get extra money, and all I did was lose my money. I had always I always had a backup, but then I basically lost my backup, and then I joined Ron LeGrand's mentor program, and I decided I'd buy this because it would have all-encompassing and I could throw myself into it. Well, that didn't work out. It was way more work than they said it would be for me, and I couldn't do it along with the work, and so I asked if I could get my money back. They told me no, so basically I was $35,000 in debt on credit cards, and I have no one to blame but myself, and that was the aggravating part. I fluctuated like a little kid. Yes, this is good. No, this is bad. Yes, this is good. No, this is bad. But eventually, I've been in it 2 years now, and so last year, I was working at a factory. They moved me to a different factory because they switched the factory away, and when I went to work for this different factory, now I can get overtime. And last year, I was working there was like 2 months that I worked every day straight without a day off, and it was like 12-hour shifts, and I'm on my feet all the time, and it's hard work. So anyway, I managed to pay down on a $35,000 credit cards. I managed to pay down like 15 grand. I'm basically paying down I have another 5 grand I'm going to pay, and then I'll only owe like 11 grand on one credit card. And I finally did get 2 credit cards that are not charging me any interest. But that's where I'm at now, and that's what I'm doing now. And what I really find was great about Gary's book and about Jocko Willing's book and about the other influencers that I follow, Brandon Bouchard and Tom Bilyeu. Well, Tom Bilyeu, Jocko, Gary Vaynerchuk, and You Can't Hurt Me. I can't think of his name. David Goggins. They're basically take extreme ownership, is Jocko. And that's what also Tom Bilyeu says, take extreme ownership. Jocko says, take extreme ownership. And David Goggins just says, toughen the fuck up. So, and then Tom Bilyeu has a shirt that says, toughen the fuck up, Buttercup. But I was also, if I ever get a chance to talk to Tom Bilyeu, and if anybody ever makes a shirt, it's like toughen the fuck up, Buttercup. But I want it to read all backwards, so only the person who looks in the mirror can see it, because you don't need that. Everybody who outs it doesn't need to read that. It's the person that's wearing the fucking shirt needs to know that. So that's what I've been doing, and I haven't. I've thought for a while that I would take, Ron LeGrand to court, but I wouldn't win. I would get pennies on the dollar. And then also I had a self-directed IRA, which I directed with some people that I met from Maria, were kind of mentors to me, and that money went away. So basically I'm negative. And so, but I'm still a self-help junkie because I still find these beneficial. So right now I read the 12 and a half, but I'm also reading Jim Quick's book of Limitless because I do have, I do read slow and I do spell terribly. So I think he's gonna, they say, Jim Quick and all these people say that if you just do things over a little bit, you can get better. You may never be a racehorse, Tom Bilyeu says. You can't make a pig out of a racehorse, Tom Bilyeu says. But he says that if you practice and work really hard, you can make a really fast motherfucking pig. And if people follow Tom Bilyeu, of course you know this, but I have put this, because now I'll back up and I'll say now, like 5 years ago, I was ready to give up. They cut back my hours. I was trying to find the answers. So basically I came across some people like Evan Carmichael, and there was Kung Fu Hustler, and they talked about side hustles and that. And then through them, these little teeny channels, through them I found Ty Lopez. And then through Ty Lopez, I found Gary Vaynerchuk. I found Tom Bilyeu at Quest Nutrition. And then it was Inside Quest I watched. And then it was Impact Theory, and then it was Health Theory, and then it was Relationship Theory with his wife, Lisa Bilyeu. And yes, I am 66 and a half years old, and yes, I have been married and divorced 3 times. So I obviously don't listen. But what I'm trying to do here is give you some back thing. Is 5 years ago when I was ready to give up, I decided that I was hurting so bad I couldn't move. So I'd go days in bed, and finally I said, let me try this. I took it by the horn and I just started exercising. Well, the exercise helped, but the next day I'd be stiff all over again. So I started looking at nutrition. I started looking into the ketogenic diet. Then I started looking into fasting. And every day it got better, but at the end of the day, and it was great, but at the beginning of the day it was stiff and terrible. And so I kept thinking, what could be wrong? So you search, you say, tell me the answer. Well, guess what? Cold showers kept coming in, ice therapy. And I live in Minnesota, and I hate the cold, and I kept saying, fuck that. But I finally did it. And I remember the first day I did it. I stood in there, and the cold water was hitting my feet, and I was like, I can't do this. And I was about ready to get out, and something just said, fuck it. So I put my head underneath there, and I screamed like a little girl. No, that's not true. I screamed like a little baby boy. Girls are stronger than people think. For all you girls out there, don't let anybody hold you back. I don't have any kids, and thank God, because I love kids, but now that I'm older, I just can't eat a whole one. I'm just kidding. No, I like kids, but I never had one myself. I have nieces, nephews. It just never worked out, and I'm kind of glad because I would have been a shitty parent. Shitty parent. I was a shitty human being. But I didn't know what was wrong. So now I take cold showers. Now I fast. Now like I said, I eat a low carb diet, or a slow carb diet is what I eat with Tim Ferriss, because it was his idea. If I had a ketogenic diet, that's good for a while to get things done. Fasting is good for a while, but I did a 9-day fast right out of the gate just to see if I could do it, and I don't think I've ever really recovered from that. My skin kind of hangs on me, but again, I'm 66 and a half years old. When I graduated high school, I was 165 pounds, just a little chunky for me. I went to work on the oil rigs right away out in Wyoming for a while, and I built up muscle. But now I'm 66 and a half, and I weigh 150 pounds. 150, it's kind of light, but it's better than being heavy. But my skin hangs, and I got a little pot belly. But what I do is every day is I do 20 minutes of men's 30-day yoga challenge. And I do day 1. I went through the yoga challenge for like a month and a half, like 2 months. It's a month program, but I just couldn't do the poses very well, so I did it. And now I just do day one because of what Bruce Lee said. Bruce Lee he said he didn't fear the man who practices 1,000 kicks. He fears the man that practices one kick 1,000 times. And so I thought if I can get day one down better, and every day, since I've been doing it for like almost 5 years now, I still find that, oh, I'm not doing that right. Oh, I can do better here. I can do that. And of course, it's yoga. And if anybody who does yoga saw me do yoga, they would say, he's not doing yoga. He's just, I don't know. So I do Bob yoga, is basically what I can say. But this is an excellent book. It's actually, what drew me to Tai Lopez is that he read books. The one thing I wanted to do as a kid, was be able to read. And that first day of reading was a mess. Anyway, I wanted to read. I didn't know my ABCs. I didn't know anything about it, but I knew I wanted to read. I would practice writing, and I would practice cursive writing because I'd see my mom do it. And I asked my mom, is there any words there? And she'd say no, and there wasn't. But then I'd say, is there any letters there? And she'd say no. And I would be frustrated, but there were letters there because there was L's, there were E's, there were O's. My mom wasn't very, she wasn't raised very well. So when it comes to learning. So anyway, I'm rambling on, but what my whole purpose here is to tell you is that Jim Kwik started out really with he's a super reader, he's a super intelligent teacher, he's a superhuman when it comes to reading and when it comes to memorizing and when it comes to spelling, but it wasn't always that way because he had a brain accident when he was a young kid. Look at Jim Kwik's, look him up. This is my first video. I don't know how to video. I don't know how to edit. I know how to put this on YouTube. And I also, even though I've been an actor, but I didn't have all these gadgets, and I don't know how to do Facebook hardly at all. I don't know how to Instagram, and so I need to learn all this. I have joined Twitter, and I have joined Discord, but I get my phone in there, look, and all I get these icons, I can't get to the page. And I don't have a junior high person or a kid that can show me on my phone how to do this. So I don't know how I can, all I need is maybe 20 minutes with someone that really knows how to work Discord, somebody that really knows how to work Clubhouse, somebody that really knows how to work Twitter, LinkedIn, all those things, just to get the basics so I can become self-taught. But right now, I don't even know the fucking basics. So anyway, I'm telling you this is because I've come so far. Usually when anybody has a task to do, they start right here. This is where most people start. Now, if you're retarded, you start here. And if you're dead, you start here. And then most people grow to be here. This is somewhat good. Well, me, I start way over here. Can't even see my hand in the air. Woo-hoo-hoo, that's where I start. And I work and work and work until I get to where dead people are. Then I move from dead people to challenged people. Then I move to normal people. And then I finally get to where I can work for here. But when I work here, I finally get to where most people are. And I go a little bit further, a little bit further, a little bit further. And then I get bored. And I think, well, I know there. So I never get mastery. And because I always think I do hard work. I know I can do hard work. But again, it's like, I just didn't realize that a little bit every day can change your life. And so that's what I am actually learning with Tom Bilyeu and everybody. So I am documenting this because of this book. They want me to do push-ups every day for 55 days. There's other things in there that he wants me to do, and I will do them, Gary Vaynerchuk, but I can't do it now because I want to do Jim Kwik's book, so I can learn to read faster and so I can spell. And I don't know if I'll ever be able to, I didn't think I'd ever be able to read, but after 2 years I did learn to read and I did learn to spell. It's now nothing comes fast. And typing is like, I keep making the same fucking mistakes over and over again. It's like, this is how aggravating it is. First of all, you get up and you think, oh, I need to go to the store. And so I need to go, but I broke this special little tool that I'm working on my house on. So here, let me find, here's this tool. Okay, it took me forever to find this tool. I didn't know where it was. So I have to have this tool with me so I know the right size, and I have to know where it's found in the store, so I don't have to explain myself to the guy at Lowe's or Home Depot, and I won't spend 2 days there. So I put this thing, I put everything down, put my checkbook down, get my measuring tape, all of it, and I put it in my pocket, and I run out to the car, and I go to Lowe's, and I pull out, and I don't have that fucking tool. I don't have that fucking tool. I look all over. That's the one fucking thing I came there for. So I talk to the guy, we walk along, we finally find something that's kind of, but not quite it. We buy it, come back home, I walk into the kitchen table, and there's that fucking tool sitting right on the goddamn fucking table. That's what this brain does. And that's what's so fucking aggravating. So I stop, I get back up, because the tool I bought isn't quite what I need. The old one is what I need. I take it. We go back to Lowe's, I go back to the person, I say, this is what I bought, but this is what I actually need. And the guy says, oh yeah, we have tons of those, they're right over here. Walk over there, grab it, come back over, get the exchange of the money, come back, and come back home. That's my life. That is my life. That's why people said you should do a YouTube video. Because you're just of your life. It would be a comedy. It would be a fucking comedy. No, I can do it. I have to listen to myself talk. But I have to take responsibility for it. But a lot of people say, you know, Bob, you are good at other things. You're good at speech. You're good at, and I'm not. I'm rambling. But it says you're good at other things and you're funny. Just documenting your life will be fucking hilarious. Well, it isn't. It isn't hilarious. But what I'm doing it is I'm showing that if I can improve, and at this point I don't know if I can improve. I do really think I can. Because I've improved so much just from, I've at least learned how to read, even if it's at a 5th grade or 4th grade level. I mean, I probably read more at a 3rd grade level. I understand big words, but it's my cadence, the cadence of how I read. I know 5th graders and 6th graders that read with a better cadence than I do. It's my cadence. It's how my eye falls across, and I have astigmatism, and it gaps out. Well, I wore glasses forever, but then I stopped wearing glasses because I read a book about improving your eyes naturally, and it does help, but there's still that stigmatism. I've wore contacts, I've wore glasses, and I still have that stigmatism, and that affects me. And what I think the stigmatism that was explained to me once, if you stare at a table and one of the table's legs disappear, that's astigmatism. And again, when you're tired, it's more prevalent. And so when I'm reading, like I said, what happens is I'll look at a word and I'll just assume it's that word because of the thought and the pages, but it's not. And that can fuck me up. And like I was auditioning once for a reading of a book. A dyslexic was reading. And this is before I even had gone to that, to reading. And I was looking and said, he is, and the line was, he is sad because he's leaving the tribe forever, the tribe that nurtured him. Well, I read the line, and I'm auditioning. So I said, he is sad because he's leaving the tribe forever, the tribe that neutered him. And they looked and they said, neutered? Does that say neutered? And looked at them, because they were doing a thing from a book that they were, it was a reader's theater. It was a practice project. And so he looked at it and he said, no, it's nurtured. Nurtured? And he said, are you trying to be funny? And I didn't have a response right away. And he goes, you know, we can't use you. You got to get out. I mean, it happens all the time that you lose, you know, on auditions. But that was particularly tough because I really didn't mean to. I wasn't trying to be funny. And it more cemented the fact that I was having trouble. So after that, I did learn to read. And once I learned to read, I was better at cold readings. And so I got more jobs as an actor. But anyway, that's just a time for another story. But this is like my first long video. It's 24 minutes. I don't think anybody's going to watch this. But this is not my first video. My first video on YouTube was yesterday, and it was just talking about Gary Vaynerchuk's book. But what I'm here for is I'm trying to tell everybody that I'm going to start really working at trying to learn to spell better and try to read faster and also learn to type. And with that, I'm still going to intermittent fast. I'm still going to do push-ups. I'm still going to do my men's 30-day yoga challenge every day because I've been doing that for 5 years. And I still have to work my job full time. And then I still want to find a side hustle. I still want to get some kind of YouTube channel up that can help people. But everybody said, Brenda Burchard says, everybody has a story, everybody has something they're good at. Well, I've been an auto mechanic, I've worked on the oil rigs, I work at a factory, I've rehabbed this house just from doing things, and I do know a little bit about everything, but I know really nothing good about anything. I've never been really great at anything. So that's what I said, what do I have to offer? Well, the one thing I can say, though, that I've been absolutely brilliant at, I mean, if there was a gold medal for it, I would have gotten a medal, and that is fucking up. Starting from the worst way. I remember someone said, Bob, I had a task to do. So the person said, Bob, it's very simple. I've taught everybody in the whole wide world. All you do is this and this and this. If you do this and this and this, then you'll be fine. And so I went home, I did that task, I went this and this and this. I think I was working on my car. So I did this and this and this, and I came back and I said, it's not working. He said, Bob, it's not working. He said, tell me what you did. I said, well, I was in this and this and this and this. Anyway, we went back and forth. And finally he says, Bob, it's impossible. So he said, I'm going to come look at it. So he walked over there, came over, and he looked at it, and he says, huh. You know what, Bob? He said, I've taught millions of people this. Millions of people. And I told them what to do, and I'm right, and I told you, what the information I gave you was absolutely perfect. And you did everything that I told you to do. However, there was one issue there that you didn't tell me about, and I didn't think of, because nobody else had this problem. And you did that, and this fucked this whole thing up to where I don't think we can fix this. I think we have to start all over. I think we have to start over with a whole new thing. That's my life. So if I can learn, if I can progress, and I'm going to show my work, because there's a book, another book I take, show your work. So that's what I'm doing. I'm showing my work. This is 27 minutes, probably, sorry for you guys, but this is 27 minutes of your life you're never gonna get back. But this is a starting point. If I ever do get to be a good reader, if I ever do get to be something where I can actually help people, then maybe you'll go back and read this. But if I don't, well, at least maybe I can be better than I am now. You don't have a choice in life. If you are ignorant, sometimes God, the universe, gives you breaks and helps you. And I'll give you an example. If you hear a noise when you're driving down in your car and you don't have money to fix it, and you are a little mechanical, or maybe you're not, but so anyway, you drive it for months and months and months with that noise, and it starts to the car starts to act funny too. It won't start, or it won't run right, or something. So finally, you just put on your big boy pants. You ask a few people. You get online and you look in there and see what it is, and you find the problem, and you can see that it's maybe a ball joint or a tie rod end. That's tie rod end on a car, that it's loose, and so you take it out. You count the turns on it, so you make sure that you take it out and bad, it's almost broken, and you go to the auto parts store, they put it in, and you put it in, and you do it for the first time, and now it's good, and you think, oh, great, I learned it, I know. So the next time you're driving down the road, and you feel that same thing, you say, oh, that's a tie rod. Well, I know I can go down there and look, but the last time I drove for months and months, so I'll be lucky bang, it'll break right then, because once you learn, you can never be lucky. You can never be lucky. You can never go back. Ignorance is like that. Ignorance is bliss. It's not bliss. What you don't know can fucking kill you. But ignorance is not bliss. But the universe and people and just things kind of help you along so you don't to navigate. But once you learn how to do right, once you learn how to do something right, whether it's emotional, whether it's physical, whether it's anything, once you learn how to do it right, You can never go backwards and say, oh, I can just be ignorant for a day, or, oh, you can't. The universe will not let you do it. And I don't care if you're an atheist. I don't care if you're a Protestant, if you're a Buddhist, if you're a Catholic. It doesn't matter. If you believe in God, if you don't believe in God, the universe, intelligence, it will not let you go backwards. And so something I heard recently is awareness is curative. Awareness, just being aware of your situation, your surrounding, just to be aware that you don't know what you don't know is curative. That is curative. Awareness in and of itself. So that's what I've learned from my 66 years. And this is a long video, 30 minutes. If you are watching this, thank you. Smash the like button, whatever, the YouTube algorithm, and I'll try to learn how to edit this shit. But right now I'm just documenting. And I would appreciate help, some ideas, how I can learn to edit videos and do this stuff. Anyway, Bob out. Gary Vaynerchuk, Jim Quick, Tom Bilyeu, and Brendan Burchard. I just joined Tom Bilyeu's his Impact Theory University for $1, and also I joined Brendan Burchard's, and they said, "We'll look for emails, look for emails." Well, they haven't sent me emails, so I don't know if I have them in their program. And if I'm not in their program, that's okay, because I still promised myself that I'd pay this Ron LeGrand thing off before I would do that, and I've got to pay $5,000 here the next coming days, and then I have another $11,000 to pay off, and I'll finally have that shit out of my, and I'll finally be at zero. Being at zero. I'm not even broke. I'm at zero. The only payment I really have to have is this house. Everything else I have is paid off, and I don't have any other credit card debt. I didn't, and I'd like to get my savings paid back up. But anyway, this is where I'm starting. This is where I'm starting from. This is me. So anyway, thanks for going, and Bob out.